Hi folks, HR Funk here. Have you ever noticed there are certain things that just scream America? Things like the 55 Chevy, baseball, rock and roll music. I suppose we could throw mom and apple pie in there as well. Those things are indelibly linked with this country and our way of life. And among the things that just scream America is the classic lever action rifle, which is what I have with me today. This is the Marlin 39A Golden Rifle, chambered for the timeless 22 rimfire cartridge. In today's firearms universe, where everything seems to be gravitating toward the tactical, rifles like the Marlin 39A probably seem a little passé, but the truth is they are every bit as good at performing to any task you can reasonably ask of a 22 rimfire today as they were way back when they were first designed in the early 1890s. Now, unfortunately, Marlin years ago was purchased by the Freedom Group, which essentially is Remington, and the current 39As, as well as the other arms in the Marlin firearms line, are not being made in the old Marlin factory anymore. I see that as a sad thing. This rifle is about 10 years old. It's one of the ones that came from New Haven, and let's take a little bit closer look at the 39A to give you an idea of what this rifle is and what features it offers. To begin with, even though the 39A is a 22 rimfire chambered firearm, it is an adult-sized firearm as well. You have a 24-inch barrel, and this has the famous Marlin micro groove rifling inside, a full-size handguard, and a full-size lever. It has a rubber recoil pad, not because of the punishing recoil of the 22 rimfire, but this actually helps grip your shoulder, the material of a shirt or jacket, and help hold the rifle in place while you're aiming. We have nice checkering on the pistol grip. We have nice bluing on the metal, and again, more checkering on the foregrip. We also have a tubular magazine that's capable of holding, I believe, 18 22 long rifle cartridges, and I forget how many shorts and longs, a bunch. The sights on the 39A are the classic buckhorn style open sights. They are adjustable for both elevation by way of the slider underneath the sight, and they're drift adjustable for windage. Moving up to the front sight, we have a bead style front sight with an ivory dot, and on the left side of the receiver we have a couple of witness holes. Now these are kind of interesting. This one allows you to see if there is any cartridges left in the magazine. Right now I can see the red plastic follower down in there from the magazine, which tells me that there is nothing left inside there, and if I would cycle the lever, I'm not going to have a round go into the chamber. I believe the intent behind this witness hole up here is to allow us to tell if there's a cartridge in the chamber. That doesn't work nearly as well. When I have a cartridge in there, I can kind of hold the rifle just right to be able to see in there and kind of sort of tell if there's a cartridge in it, but it doesn't work nearly as well as the witness hole for the magazine. Turning the rifle over to the other side, we see the takedown screw right here. In case you don't know, this rifle does come apart into two halves. All you have to do is unscrew that bolt right there, and the rifle breaks down very easily into two halves for easy packing. We also have on this side, or at least on this side at the moment, the cross-bolt hammer blocking safety right here. Now this is something that causes a lot of people some amount of annoyance when they have a safety on a lever action rifle, because the rifle also has a half cock notch in the hammer, which is sort of the classic lever action rifle safety. I don't get too worked up about this. I just basically tend to ignore it. Actually, it is kind of nice sometimes when you first chamber around, you can put the safety on, lower the hammer down, and then set it in the half cock, and then take the safety off. And at that point, all you have to do is cock the hammer, fire the rifle, and of course you can keep firing each time you cycle the lever. Something I've added to my rifle is this Marbles tang sight right here. I really don't like the idea of scoping a rifle like this, although it is drilled and tapped on the top strap if you want to add a scope, but I much prefer the traditional style tang sight. This helps a lot with your accuracy, and you don't destroy the lines or the balance of the rifle by adding a scope. Now, just so you know, the factory rear sight here accommodates either a scope or a tang sight very well, because it can be removed from your line of sight simply by flipping it down, just like that. The 39A has the classic good looks of American walnut and blued steel, and it also has a nice long sight radius and a very good trigger, a surprisingly good trigger for accurate shooting, which is where it really shines. So enough talking about the 39A, let's do some shooting and see how it does. Okay, I've got the 39A loaded up with 10 rounds, and I have got my precision machine rest here. This machine rest, by the way, is infinitely adjustable and will accommodate any firearm whatsoever. I can't recommend them highly enough. This is actually probably the kind of rest you should shoot this rifle over. We're talking about a rifle that's intended for field use. This is not a tactical rifle, whatever exactly that means. I've got my target set up at 50 yards down there, and we're going to run 10 rounds through here, and then we're going to go down and take a look at our 50-yard, 10-round group. Okay, let's go have a look at the target. Okay, here's our 10-round group. It's a little wider laterally than I would like it to be, and the reason for that is because the front sight pretty much covers up this target spotter right here, and I have a hard time judging exactly where it is. That's why we see a little bit of stringing right to left here. The elevation deviation is very good. I'm going to go back and give this another try, and I'm going to try a little bit different way of sighting it, and we'll see if we close this group down just a little bit. Okay, that's a little better. I went to a slightly bigger target paster. With this one, I could kind of see the outside of the target pass or outside my front sight, so it helped me get a little bit better sense of where I was when I was aiming. Group's not bad. Could probably come down a click, maybe come right one click. I'm not sure. This ammunition that I'm using is just plain old Federal bulk pack ammo. It's nothing special. I'm going to give this exercise one more try, and I'm going to use some Wolf match target ammo. I've never fired Wolf match out of my 39A, but it's always been good accurate ammunition out of pretty much everything I have shot it out of. So we're just going to see how it'll group out of the 39A. Okay, I'm loaded up with 10 rounds of the Wolf match target. This ammunition is a little lower velocity than the Federal that I've been shooting, so I'm expecting the group is probably going to be a little bit lower, but I'm also expecting it to be a little bit tighter. So let's see what happens. Okay, let's take a look and see how the Wolf match target did. Well, interestingly, the Wolf actually grouped a little bit higher than the Federal Champion did. And the group is about the same size. So I guess we didn't see a whole lot of difference there. Looks like maybe the micro groove rifling isn't quite as conducive to high accuracy out of the Wolf match target as some of the more conventional rifling in my other rifles. The 39A is fun no matter how you're shooting it. But shooting it from the bench is never quite as much fun as shooting it the way it was meant to shoot, which is standing, and particularly shooting at a reactive target. What I've got down here, if you can see it, is that orange ball. My wife got me that for Christmas. It's a new reactionary target. When you shoot it, it rolls, and the idea is to keep shooting it and keep it rolling. So I've got 10 rounds loaded up in the 39A. We're going to see how far down the range we can roll that thing before I run out of ammunition. Okay, that's fun. Didn't roll too far. The 22 only rolls it, if you're lucky, maybe one full revolution with each time you hit it. But still, a lot of fun. And the Marlin 39A is just as good today as it was back in the 1890s when it was first designed. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, give us a thumbs up. Also, if you have any questions or comments, be glad to hear from you in the comments section. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I have a lot of videos like this covering a great number of firearms that you might be interested in. Other than that, y'all have a good day. And until next time, good shooting. Bye-bye.